Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Sonic X Shadow Generations commentary for the Shadow portion.
The time has come, Shadow.
Agreed. Time to sever this bond between us forever.
So, here we go. Another boss battle against Devil Doom that does take a lot after the Metal Sonic boss fight that we had before. But, yeah, as to be expected with a lot of Sonic final boss fights, this isn't all the moves that he has in his arsenal, so we may be seeing something new here. But I mean, either way, I will say that, I was still a fan of the original Black Doom boss fight in Shadow the Hedgehog, but, yeah, this one is obviously much more stylish, a lot more energetic and action-packed, and, yeah. It's a pretty good boss fight. I rather enjoy it for both phases, and, you know, it does the scaling thing once again right. I mean, we have a bit of a remix of his regular boss theme from, you know, Shadow the Hedgehog 2005, you know, when you fought him in the regular storylines, but we do also get a little special track involving All Hail Shadow. Kick. Oh no, his poor eye is injured. But yeah, again, it does make usage out of a lot of Shadow's abilities. I mean, not only are you going to be using the Doom Surfing Dude, but yeah, you're also going to be utilizing your Doom Morph abilities. Again, it's, yeah, I just really like how it incorporates a lot of what you've learned throughout the game, so, it does make it a pretty worthy final boss fight in my eyes. Yes, take that, eat your laser rocks. Whee! Multiple kicks! And off we go. Don't really have too much more to say apart from that though, although, yeah, it does still pay homage to a lot of Black Doom's, you know, traditional attacks from launching laser beams at you and, you know, trying to destroy these little platforms right here, and, this is, I mean, at least in my experience anyway, this is the part where I tended to die the most, so, yeah, many whoopsie doodles will have, but, yeah, unlike, a certain Sonic Superstars I could mention, you do actually have a mid-boss fight checkpoint, so I mean if you do happen to totally blow it, well you can pretty much just restart from this section of the fight. Not right where you left off, mind you, but you know, having to do all three phases of this little, oh no, I've taken a hit, I guess I better blow you back yet again. Whee! But I mean, again, to this part's credit, I mean there are many, you know, little Doom Morph, what do you call them, splotches? Orbs? Marrow ooze, dude. Yeah, there are many little ooze portions that you can use to, you know, pretty much latch onto in a globule just in case, you know, you're a bit loosey-goosey with the controls, but, yeah, you do kind of have to be on your A-game here, because otherwise, well, yeah, let's just say that, there doesn't seem to be any, ground down beneath there, unless, of course, there's some sort of Spider-Man-esque symbiote fog going on, so, yeah. If you leap without a net, you'll find it won't be there all the time, so watch your step, watch your step, watch your step, don't fall. But all that aside though, I think the worst is, over at this stage, so, yeah, just make sure that you're pretty good and on the ball with your homing attack, and, here we go. Here we go. Neo Black Doom, and we're also getting a really cool theme remix of All Hail Shadow. Crush 40 version, unfortunately, they're not really too sure why they're against using the Magnify version. I guess maybe they'd have to get into contact with the lead singer. I mean, assuming that Magnify is still around, I don't really know where the legalese really lies in terms of, bands that are no longer formed or anything, or if you can even use their music, or if it belongs to a record company. Whatever, but basically, yeah, in a weird way, if I can describe this boss fight as anything, it's kind of like the Chernobog boss fight from Kingdom Hearts, in the sense that you're kind of batting back like weird phantoms, but at the same time, you're also sort of racing towards it. So in a weird way, it also kind of comes into, well, in a bizarre way, Sonic Generation's own final boss fight, except well-made and has actual clear instructions. But we'll get to that when we get to the Sonic Generations portion. But in the meantime, though, yeah, this does make for a pretty cool final boss fight. It kind of, yeah. I mean, if you have any memories of, the Mundus boss fight in Devil May Cry 1, it's kind of similar to that as well, really. Just to make your way to the core of Black Doom once you knock back enough of his phantoms at him, and, yeah, just sort of lay the smackdown on his eye and, just avoid his attacks. Since you are also utilizing the Doomwing ability, again, you don't really take a lot of damage, so, again, Super Shadow without actually being Super Shadow. And, yeah, you can pretty much take him out no problem. But yeah, all in all though, pretty fun final boss fight, really great, and yeah, overall I quite enjoy it. I mean, it does risk a bit of overlap with the Metal Overlord boss fight, but arguably it does give you a bit of prep time to test out a few of your abilities, as you've been using throughout the game, so yeah, I guess it isn't quite as much reusing content as much as it is building up your skills so that you can use all your knowledge to defeat Black Doom, which, again, does sort of tie into what Shadow was saying throughout the story. He'll use all of his newfound powers to defeat Black Doom, which he does. Well, okay, except for there when he gets smacked around like a, well, like a bit of a puss-ass, but, can't exactly have everything. We're gonna make Black Doom feel like he's doing some damage, we're gonna show them that he's still at least trying. Although, rather unfortunately, though, I do believe if he does smack you around like that, he does sort of reset his attack pattern, so, yeah, that's a little bit balls, but, yeah. At least when he gets to his last fourth of health, yeah, this is pretty much when he starts opening the fucking time portal thing opening from Doctor Who, so, yeah, just make your way through this little vortex of death and, lay the smackdown.
Lost control. Your future is already decided. We will be one.
I will not be stopped.
Deny what you are. We are one and the same.
Shadow Hedgehog. This is the destiny I choose. Now, to end this!
Everything up till now, and yet you deny me! Shadow,
And with that, we lay the smackdown on Black Doom. He is dead for good this time, or at least I certainly hope so, and enjoy the cutscene while I take a drink of the Pepsi.
Nice work. Perfect timing, too. Sonic is getting ready to confront the monster that trapped us here. If I'm going to switch the emeralds without him noticing, we have to do it now.
Very well. I leave it to you.
Okay, I'll take care of it. Aren't you coming? He might need your help.
I need to settle something first.
Whatever. Shadow? I knew you could do it.
Maria!
I'm okay. Really.
Professor, what's happening?
Without Black Doom's influence, the time anomaly is beginning to heal. We are returning to our own point in time.
I'll stop Rouge. Use Chaos Control. Stop this moment in time.
Shadow? No. I don't want to be frozen in one place in time. Besides, your friends need your help.
But you don't know what's going to happen.
I know I'll see you again. And if fate draws us apart, I will always be in your heart.
Maria. Wait.
And so, we finally have closure for Shadow's story, and hopefully this will be the final bit of definitive closure we really have on opening the can of worms of Shadow's past here. And incidentally, yes, I am also altering the final credits to play This Is Who I Am by Magnify, which was intended to be in Shadow the Hedgehog, but didn't actually end up making the final cut because Magnify considered it too good of a song to really waste, handing the rights over to Sega, so they included this on their own album and wrote All Hail Shadow as a replacement. But I mean, given the ending, I feel like it was kind of appropriate. Bittersweet, but at the same time also triumphant, and yeah, I suppose with that segment, that was the Shadow portion of Sonic X Shadow Generations. The new part of the game, and overall, I really like this. I had a lot of fun. I still even go back to the game, even now, really, just to, play a couple of sessions and just have a lot of fun, really. I will say, what gives us the edge over the Sonic Generations portion to kind of jump the gun a little bit here is that it has a little bit more meaningful story content, even if it does recycle the whole Shadow, Maria, Joe Robotnik kind of thing. But what I will say, compared to Shadow the Hedgehog and other games that do try and bring it up, it at least gives definitive closure of Shadow actually meeting Joe and Maria for one last time. They make their peace with each other, Shadow finally has closure to his whole story arc thing. And, we can finally move on to greener pastures with his character, assuming that that's what Sonic Team wants to do. In terms of gameplay, though, I mean, again, it does make a lot of nice little touches and improvements over, what was seen with Frontiers, and quite honestly, it makes me excited to see what the next main series Sonic game is going to do with the abilities that we have here. I mean, maybe it's not necessarily going to be like an out-and-out, utilizing Chaos powers or whatever, but it will be quite interesting to see how they sort of create abilities that sort of seamlessly flow into the gameplay and are more of an extension of, the player character's abilities, as opposed to taking away, which, I'll get into when we get into Sonic Generations with the Planet Wisp segment, but either way, I felt like the writing was fairly sharp. Again, decent job by Ian Flynn, despite what people might say about his writing here and there. And, yeah, overall, pretty good. It is quite a short game compared to a lot of other Sonic games, so yeah, length might be a bit of an issue, but I mean, this is also being bundled with Sonic Generations as something of a side story, and I mean, even that game in and of itself did also have some length problems, so, I feel like both games kind of complement each other in a nice way to create a whole experience, and overall, yeah, I really enjoyed the Shadow portion. It's a pretty great experience. Again, I have made a lot of praises throughout the level design, even voice acting in and of itself. And again, I know I've sort of badmouthed Kirk Thornton Shadow compared to Keanu Reeves, which, I mean, even Keanu had a bit of a slightly rushed voice direction, which is slightly more forgivable since it's a one-off DLC compared to Kirk Thornton, who's, again, not just had this game, but, you know, also the games from fucking Sonic Generations through, well, to here to improve, and he does okay here, but I don't know, I'd still easily take David Humphries and Jason Griffith over him, and it's worth saying something, that even a rather staccato Keanu Reeves I still feel has a slightly better fitting voice, which, I mean, isn't a slight against Kirk Thornton as a voice actor. He's a great man who does a lot of great roles, including, you know, Harry Mason from Silent Hill Shattered Memories. It's just that his Shadow voice, I don't know, it's not one of his best, but that's neither here nor there in this case, and yes, indeedy, since we didn't get to hear it all throughout the game, and it was a rather glaring omission, Almost Dead by Powerman 5000. I still enjoy this song, it is sick as hell, and for those of you wondering what the regular credits actually are, it's pretty much just a medley of all the stages you hear throughout the game in lieu of an originally recorded track, which is a bit disappointing, but hence why I decided to incorporate some of the vocal themes to sort of make up the difference. I guess it was trying to match up with Sonic Generations, which also had a bit of a credits medley, but that game was sort of making it as a bit of a tribute to Sonic 1, which, kind of odd, really, but, you know, whatever, I will let it slide, although I will be doing something interesting with the end credits of Sonic Generations in and of itself, particularly with a certain Crush the 40 track that I honestly got feel like was written for Generations, but just didn't make the cut for some bizarre reason, so yeah, I just have no idea what the fuck happened there. Either way, though, I feel like a lot of the stages that, you know, this game did adapt, it adapted a lot of cool, unique set pieces, had a lot of cool visual flair to really spice them up, and in terms of a lot of the stages that were otherwise seen as a bit lesser, like, you know, Kingdom Valley for Shadow's portion, or, you know, Sunset Heights we're seeing right here, I don't know, it made a really great level out of them, you know, it adapted them faithfully, but also added some nice little touches that just, again, makes them really exciting to play through, and not only does the original games justice, but, you know, makes some really fun levels to play through, and, particularly as we get to, you know, Chaos Island, creating a level out of what was otherwise just, hub world elements. Pretty good, originally designed stage. I mean, again, I think I mentioned this before during, you know, our run-through of Sunset Heights, but I mean, if these are the same designers that got their, you know, teeth cut with Sonic Forces and how rather rigidly designed that game was, fucking hell, what an improvement, man. But in any case, though, oh, here we come with a sick-as-hell guitar breakdown that I really fucking love from Almost Dead. Again, a lot of people disparage Almost Dead, but this guitar breakdown right here. Sick as hell, fucking oath, this is great. But yeah, I mean, if you couldn't tell by my overall happiness, both throughout talking the end credits and all throughout the commentary, really did enjoy the Shadow portion, which I suppose leaves you wondering, what exactly do I think about the Sonic Generations? Well, you'll find out, because again, as I mentioned, I am going to be covering the Sonic Generations portion, you know, right after this part finishes. It's just that it's going to be a very truncated version of Generations, so you might be wondering what I mean by that. Well, basically what's going to be happening is that I'm going to be shortening down a few of Generations' excess. That was partially done to sort of pad out the game, because Generations in and of itself, with the Sonic portion, was a rather shortened experience, which was entirely because they were developing Sonic Colors alongside it, which you might come to notice because Sonic Colors was only ever a Nintendo Wii release, whereas Sonic Generations got ports to the Xbox 360, PC, and PS3, but didn't get a Nintendo Wii version. So, I guess, at the time, Sonic Team was trying to cover, you know, Sonic Generations for, you know, some of the more high-def console users, while Sonic Colors was there released a year prior for Wii users, which was quite strange, but yeah, kind of a bit of a non-issue nowadays, since we had the port of Sonic Colors Ultimate, which was, well, a bit of a kind of kappa shit port, but, you know, at least as a way of people to play it these days. Yeah, well, but I mean, either way, the short and sweet of it is that I'm basically cutting down Sonic Generations towards a bit of a fine science, I suppose kind of a similar in nature to how I handle the Crash Bandicoot commentaries, really, where it's pretty much just going to be level by level, with a few cutscenes here and there, just sort of to give you the bare bones of the plot, because everything else is either just chaff or, well, some of the mini-games that you also saw, you know, me covering throughout the Shadow portion, and, really, again, you saw how I was pretty much struggling to talk throughout those parts of the game, where I was more or less just talking about random trivia and, banging tunes. So yeah, I figured I might as well just get to the brass tacks and talking about, you know, the meat and potatoes of Generations as opposed to the, well, string bean salad that's, or tofu, rather, that's just nutritious, but not very delicious, if that makes any sense. Either way, I think I've rambled for long enough, so on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully. Keep it new metal, and next time on the Sonic X Shadow Generations commentary, well, we get to the Sonic part of the Sonic X Shadow Generations commentary, so yeah, I hope you look forward to that. It'll be much shorter than what we've encountered so far, so catch you dudes, language failing, see you next time, me am Superman.